This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Baruchim Habayim. Welcome everyone to a special edition of All Parsha on Parshas Vayigash, the Ben La'ashri, the Tzaddik of Ranana, on Parshas Vayigash. I'd like to share with you today 5 amazing offerings of the Ben La'ashri on Parshas Vayigash. Let us begin. Parak Mem Daled Pasuk Lamed Gimel, Rashi on the Pasuk Yeshev Na, where Yehuda says, "Let me take the place of Binyamin." And Yehuda says, "I'm better than Binyamin in all ways. Legevura, lemilchama, ulashamesh, for strength, for war, and to serve." And the Sifsei Chachamim is bothered. What's the difference between gevura, milchama, and lashamesh? And he says, gevura is needed for milchama or for shimush. Gevura is needed for war and to serve. However, the Ben Lashri says, b'mechilas kavoid, the Torah of the Sifsei Chachamim, there's a well-known comment of the Tosfos Yom Tov at the end of Masechta Para, that about 2, you cannot use the phrase all, only 3. So if Rashi says, l'chol davar, for all matters I'm greater, gevura, milchama, and l'shamesh, these must be 3 different categories, not 2. And therefore the Ben Lashri identifies what these 3 categories are. Number 1, milchama. Milchama refers to the tachsisei milchama, the protocol of war, the proper arrangement, alignment, movements, the ritual of war. That's what Yehuda knew how to do. And l'shamesh refers to special service. That's to be able to refrain when in the presence of the king from conversation and from bodily needs. And then gevura is just brute strength needed to fight a battle. So in fact, Rashi is delineating 3 distinct categories. Number 2, offering number 2. Yosef cannot withhold himself, l'chol hanitzavim alav, to all those standing upon him. In the Sefer Zois Zikaron from the Chayza of Lubin, he points out that it should have said, for all those standing next to him. What's those standing upon him? And the Ben La'ashri says that we can suggest as follows: that when Rabbi Shua began to darshan about the Ma'aseh Merkava, the Malachi Asharis would gather to listen like people who come to see the merriment of the Chassan and Kala. In fact, the Medrash says that when Yehuda and Yosef were arguing, the Malachi Asharis said, "Let's go down and see how the ox fights with the lion." So we could say, says Ben Lashri, the confrontation of Yosef and Yehuda was similar to the Ma'aseh Merkava. We could add, Yosef is an image on the Ma'aseh Merkava, namely the shar, and Yehuda is an image on the Ma'aseh Merkava, namely the Ari, and therefore the Malachi Asharis came down to see, to listen, to watch this epic encounter. And therefore it says, l'chol hanitzavim alav, it's a lashon nikia, regarding the Malachi Asharis, they had all gathered to watch this. This is what it means, v'yachal Yosef lehesapik, Yosef could not contain himself. With so much kedusha in the room, all the Malachi Asharis came to watch this spectacle, because the brothers contained and entered into their words all kinds of yichudim as they spoke to Yosef. So Yosef could not contain himself as there was so much kedusha in the room. Amazing Rabbeinu B'chaye, offering number 3. It says in the count of the Bnei Yisrael that descended to Mitzrayim, Ubnei Yehuda Er va'oinan, the children of Yehuda Er and Oinan. And then the pasuk says Er and Oinan died, and Rabbeinu B'chaye asks, well, if they died, how could they be included in the count? And Rabbeinu B'chaye says, well, they were Nizgalgal, and they came into the neshamos of Peretz and Zarach. Okay, asked the Ben Lashri, so why would we count Aaron, Oinon, and Peretz and Zarach? So I would have said, because not only are Peretz and Zarach counted, but the souls that are with them are also mentioned because they accompanied them. But the Ben Lashri feels that they're being counted as individuals, so why would that be? If the new soul is Peretz and Zarach, only Peretz and Zarach should be counted. If the new soul is Aaron Oinon, only Aaron Oinon should be counted. Unless, says the Ben Lashri, you have to say there were 4 neshamas here. The neshamas of Aaron Oinon and the neshamas of Peretz and Zarach. Offering number 4, Yaakov Avinu says when he sees Yosef, Amusa hapam, now I could die. But don't Chazal say, Al yiftach adam piv l'satan, one should not open up their mouth to the Satan? So why would Yaakov say, now I could die? He's like almost giving the Satan a bad idea. Says the Ben Lashri, the principle that you shouldn't open up your mouth to the Satan is only for an average person. But a complete tzaddik, like Yaakov Avinu, who achieved Deveikus Amiti, to him death is not a tzara, just the opposite. It's like going from one room to the traklin. And especially when he sees Yosef, and his union with Yosef was such a big yichud, he realized the great elevation he would have if he would now go up to Shamayim. He said, Amusa apam. For the madrega of Yaakov Avinu, it was not a lack of a violation of Al Yiftach Adam Pela Satan. Offering number 5. The brother said, we have no pasture for our flock because it's a very great hunger in Canaan. Perek Mem Zayin Pasuk Daled. Wait a second. If it's a very great hunger in Canaan, why are they worried about the flock not having food? What about them? They don't have food. Says the Ben La'ashri, no. The Gemara in Tainus says, Ina bracha mitzuya ela b'davar hashasama min ha'ayin. Blessing is only found by something that's hidden from the eye. So the grain and the food they have in the house, God could send blessing to, because nobody sees it. So they weren't worried about their own food. But regarding the public feeding of the animals, that was a concern for the brothers, and therefore they said, because of the famine, Ein mira letzoin asher la'avadecha. Okay, wishing everyone an amazing rest of the week, and Shabbos Parshas Vayigash, haba alinu l'toiva.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.